Well, I feel that the Altadena was one of the places after the Second World War that allowed folks who were not in the aggregate main community to realize the American dream.
Yes.
To buy a house and to pass it on to their kids and to have a business there. And it was marginalized because most of the people who worked for the more privileged folks in Pasadena, the gardeners, the chauffeurs, the maids, the caregivers, were allowed to borrow money from the bank, establish the house, and pass the house along. The classic American dream.
Right.
And when I realized how much it had been ignored and not sort of talked about, then I'm a storyteller, and I believe, for all these years of telling various stories, some of them made up and some of them real, that information is the key to progress.
Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation and executive producer of Show Her the Money. And today I have on some special guests. We're going to be talking about a new film project by Eric Dyson. And I'm going to tell you that our special guest today is 6-time Emmy-winning actress Tyne Daly. You probably know her from the famous Cagney and Lacey show that, really broke down doors for women in Hollywood, along with her co-actress Sharon Gless, who is not with us today, but I'm going to tell you how you can come see them both because we have a very special event coming up to raise money for a film about the Altadena fires that Eric is doing. Eric Dyson is a renowned director as well as cinematographer. He started off with Steven Spielberg. Have you heard of him? And he's worked on many TV shows. One of my favorite, which is Man on the Inside with Ted Danson. He also worked on Judging Amy with Tyne Daly, and that's how they met. And I have them both here on the show today. Please welcome to the show, Tyne Daly and Eric Dyson. Hi, guys.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so happy to have you here. And I'm really happy that we're working on this fundraising project for this amazing film that you're making, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you two met on Judging Amy.
Yeah.
And, you had called me a few months ago, right? And said, hey, can you help us with raising money for this really important film about the Altadena fires? And as we all know, Altadena is a very special city because it was the first city in Los Angeles, and I actually learned this from you, Tyne, that allowed people of color and LGBTQ people to buy homes. Mm-hmm. And so it's a very special community. And that community recently was burned down to the ground. And so many people lost their homes and their churches and their schools. And Eric,
and their places of business.
So and Eric, I know you're from that area. Tell us why you started this film project, which, by the way, is already an award-winning project in a short format.
Right.
And now we're raising money, to make it into a feature. So tell me how you two got collaborating on this and why you're doing this film.
Right. So, I live in the area and I've been there for 30 years now, raised 3 kids that all went to public school there. And when the fires broke out, we got evacuated. Thankfully, our home was fine, but it really hit home the next morning when we were coming back from being evacuated and my son got a text and one of his childhood friends lost their house. And this was the first of what would be many families that we knew personally. Yeah. So it's one thing to see it on TV, right? It's one thing to look out your window and see the smoke and the flames. but the net kept getting closer and closer and closer. And then I got a lot of weird text messages and phone calls. Hey, how are you? Are you guys okay? And then one that stuck out was, what are you going to do about it? And I thought, I'm not going to do anything about it, right? That's for the first responders. That's for the da-da-da-da. And then I thought, yeah, what are you going to do about it, right? You have all this equipment, right? I have a background in cinematography, and I have no excuse to not go out and start documenting things in real time, which is quite different than a TikToker who is there making TikTok videos or social media things to get likes, right? So I started off very modestly and approaching people who I knew. Could I talk to you about what you experienced? And some people were not ready, but most people were like, oh, yeah, let's do it. And I didn't really have a plan for what the story arc was going to be. I just knew that whatever was happening to this family or this business or this person, now's the time to get it sorted out later. Cut to probably 6 months after the fire, I got a grant to produce a short. So now I formulated a plan for what would this short look like. And that included what are musicians and artists and a couple of community members doing to get through the disaster. And then
let me interject that short has already won awards at Burbank Festival, Pasadena International Film Festival, and I know you're taking it around the country.
Yeah.
Because let's face it is film that is educational.
Oh, for sure.
It raises awareness. People that don't live here, they don't know about this area. So Tyne, why is this area so important to you, and why did you connect with Eric about helping with this film project?
Well, I feel that the Altadena was one of the places after the Second World War that allowed folks who were not in the aggregate Maine community to realize the American dream.
Yes.
To buy a house and to pass it on to their kids and to have a business there. And it was marginalized because most of the people who worked for the more privileged folks in Pasadena, the gardeners, the chauffeurs, the maids, the caregivers, were allowed to borrow money from the bank, establish the house, and pass the house along. The classic American dream.
Right.
And when I realized how much it had been ignored and not sort of talked about, then I'm a storyteller, and I believe, for all these years of telling various stories, some of them made up and some of them real, that information is the key to progress. So if we can inform people about this place and who was there and who's going to stay and who's going to quit because the vultures have come around to pick up cheap property that's been ruined. There's always people who will try and take advantage of misery, which is disappointing. I want to take advantage of the opportunity with Eric and with you to widen the understanding of what Pasadena was. I mean, Altadena. Altadena also was the homeland of a really fantastic American author whose name is Octavia Butler. And I have just kind of caught on to her, so she's their starlight. But her books were amazing to me. I was just under the influence of having taken the advice of my grandchildren to find out about Octavia Butler. So there were a number of reasons, including my admiration for Mr. Dyson, who has worked his way through in the old-fashioned way, starting in a very practical but not very flashy job, and now he's a filmmaker, and for real. So he showed me some of the early interviews he'd done, and I knew about you because you had helped Sharon show her the money.
Yeah.
And she was
actually, Sharon's helping me with Show Her the Money as a spokesperson, and she's been amazing. And when she said, Tyne's working on a new film project, can you help her out? I'm like, of course. The two ladies that helped change the face of television for women, that's what you all did. And I say, isn't it wonderful that you're both still doing things to make a difference in the world? So that was game changing. But here you are, both of you in your 80s, and you're still doing things.
Eric's not in his 80s. I'm in my
70s.
I was talking about myself. And still changing up the game, still using your talents for the greater good. And that must be super fulfilling.
Well, the question, when you get old, and I am old, not older, don't make me say, I'm old, and you wonder where's my organizing principle? How am I contributing? Is my sell-by date showing? And how to use your impulse, which is still there from lifetime impulse, to tell about stuff that you think is important.
Absolutely.
And this was happening right here, and Eric was aware, and you were aware, and Miss Gless is a pal of mine. So she I said, how do I start this? How do I help? Actually, Eric started. How do I help disseminating information? And so it's who you know.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're still enthusiastic.
Catherine.
I can't imagine spending the next, say, 20 years, people are living to 100 now, just traveling around and looking at other people's stuff. I still want to make stuff.
Right.
And so we're trying to make this and then get it out there to the world.
Well, I'm a big fan, we were talking about earlier, of both film and theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy that we're coming together to put together a fundraiser for this film, because I always say, even in the midst of the sadness of what's happened there, let's have a joyful fundraiser where we can get together and get the collective good, the power of the collective good together, to raise money to make this award-winning film short into a feature film that can actually be used to really tell the breadth of what's happened here. And I love your idea of basing it on this book by Octavia Butler, The Parable of the Sower, which 30 years ago she predicted this was going to happen in this area, that it would be burnt down environmentally or otherwise. And so to base your feature on that, I think, is just genius. And so this is going to be called Parable of the Ashes, right? But we're going to put a high energy fundraiser around this, and bring you and Sharon together. I think for the first time, really, to recount the fun stories of Cagney and Lacey. They'll be on stage, and Susan Anton, our friend and actress, also Golden Globe nominated actress, Susan Anton, coming up to be our MC for this event. We're going to tell you throughout the show how you can find out about this event in case you want to attend. It is limited to just 50 guests in a private theater in West Hollywood, coming up September 17th. And we're super excited to put you two on stage together, telling your stories about Cagney and Lacey. And let me tell you, they are funny stories, just by the way. And doing a Q&A with the audience, auctioning off some things from the actual Cagney and Lacey show to raise money for this great endeavor. So we're super excited about this, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Alta Dena story has a past, a present, and a future.
Yes.
Perfect, classically built for telling a story.
Yes.
And I think people are not aware of the history. Some of them might be aware of the present, and then what are you going to do now? As you brought up, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And I think this film is going to impact what do we do now, because the more we raise awareness about this outside of our own area, around the country, around the world, more people are going to care that an entire community was wiped out and how important that community was to our Los Angeles area, just the significance of it, and what went wrong during these fires, the lack of the fire engine showing up, the lack of the insurance companies, getting behind these people like they should. There's so much to this story. It's an in-depth story that needs to be told. That's what I love about film. We're educating people about something they otherwise wouldn't know about, and going to let them know how they can help. I think most of humanity wants to help other humans when they find out that there's these tragedies. So, I mean, it could be in their area, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the important things is the way that the fire started and the way that the fire spread, and this community that has always had fires in the past, but this one was a lot different. This is Altadena, Pasadena, but it could be anywhere. right?
Yes.
Because of, environmental change and, just resources being withdrawn from the most marginalized communities, like
Most needy.
the most needy, that it really feels like the things that Octavia Butler wrote about 30 years ago, like she would always say, all she was doing was paying attention to what has already happened and writing about the future. And here we are living out the future. And, guess what? We didn't listen then. And maybe we should listen now because, this is not
because this could be your community.
That's right.
And you have to have compassion
In fact, it
for
is
that
your community. It is your community.
It is your community. You are right.
The communities that are divided by the skin border, by the financial border, by the education border, those fences are still up.
Yeah.
And so attention must be paid.
Yeah.
And also, the history is so wonderful, or intricate.
Yeah.
Anyway, where do we raise the money? I said this to you before. I'm going to say it again. Go to Carl Sandburg, that good old red, and read number 55 or number 60 called The Money Poem.
Yeah.
Where do we raise the money?
Yeah.
And that becomes the first question, because we live in this country and we live under capitalism. And where do we raise the money in order to be able to tell what we
to
are
tell
impelled
these types
to
of
tell?
stories.
Yes, that we-
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
And that people can use their money for the greater good, whether they're making it a tax-deductible donation or having equity in the program. We are looking for other producers.
Sure.
We're looking for people that want to attend this amazing Cagney and Lacey reunion with Tyne and Sharon Gless as well, here in West Hollywood in September. You're probably wondering, well, how do you find out about it? So that'll be in our notes in the podcast, but also Catherine Gray on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Eric Dyson as well. Send us a message. I think at the end we'll be giving our emails, so they can reach out to us if they would like to know how could they participate in this film and or come to this special event that's really a once-in-a-lifetime event to get you and Sharon together on stage sharing the stories of Cagney and Lacey, which I think, the majority of people I know in my circle are huge fans of that show. It really impacted women tremendously to see two women leads. So it changed the face of television for women forever in Hollywood. How many shows can say that? One. And of course, then you went on to do theater. I'm such a big theater fan. I know you were in my other favorite show, which was Gypsy.
Yes.
And, this is about how do we have fun, raising money, being together, bringing good people, good energy people together for a cause that's really important. And what could be better than that? Gathering all good energy people that want to make a difference in the world. And that's what this project is about.
And, I think in this era of, corporate filmmaking and TV studios downsizing, right? Like there's so much, if you want to call it content, that is sort of restricted and not getting greenlit, that this is a great opportunity for people to use their funds to say, this is the kind of project we want to get behind. Like we're not waiting for a studio, head of development or anything like that, right? This is sort of very grassroots. Every person that has come into the producing circle, just even beyond this table right now, has been sort of hand selected, and they've all been perfect fits. And this is invest in her. And you know what? I'm not a her, but I certainly appreciate the support. And I feel like at this level of filmmaking, this is the way to get things done, and it's exciting to be part of that.
Thank you. And, there's a lot of people out there with donor advisory funds too, DAFs, and we've had several of them invest in this show from there because that money is sitting in an account to be used for the greater good. I can't think of a better project right now for them to get behind than this. And we lined ourselves up, right, Eric, with From the Heart Productions, which is a 501c3 that allows us to take tax-deductible donations from individuals or from DAFs, donor advisory funds, foundations. So we welcome our listeners to participate in this. to donate, to possibly get a producer credit, certainly thank you credits, to be part of this important movement to raise awareness, because this film will play around the globe, around the world, and we want you, our listeners, to be a part of it. So it's a really great opportunity to team up with me and Tyne and Eric on this amazing project, and also to support our event that's coming up September 17th here in West Hollywood, as a participant if you'd like. And like I said, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn to find out details about that. Anything you all would like to mention before we close up and talk about what's next?
Well, I will say that I've known lots and lots and lots of colleagues over the years. So I've been 65 years being an actor. And there's this list of people. And then there's a very short list of the people that you keep. You love them while you're doing it, and Miss Gless and I were very fortunate. We started out as strangers and turned into really pals.
Yeah.
And
even though the media tried to make it look like you all were at odds, and
divide and conquer is an old game that we refused.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to use our relationship to build new relationships in terms of this project. Same with Eric. Eric and I kept each other.
Yeah.
He shows up at things.
Yeah, Eric is a keeper for me too.
Yeah. And so participation in something worthwhile rather than in something less worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very diplomatic. Is exciting. It is exciting.
And one thing I always talk about is putting the fun in fundraising,
Mhm.
because fundraising shouldn't be a drag. We should have fun coming together, using our money for the greater good. And why not have a Cagney and Lacey reunion, which is a one-of-a-kind event with you ladies, telling your stories about Cagney and Lacey, the series, the fun things that went on. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for people to hear the stories. They are hilarious.
Well, we're not
needless
talking
to
about the
say.
blood that was spilled.
Yeah.
That's a different evening. But one of my favorite things about money and how to use it, I mean, it's, besides buying $25,000 purses, money's like manure, according. It doesn't do any good unless you spread it around, encouraging young things to grow.
There you go.
Otherwise it's just manure. And you can sit on a huge pile of it, and feel some kind of satisfaction. I have a failure to understand the concept, but spreading it around, encouraging young things to grow. Yeah.
What can I say? I can't censor her. But yeah, what she said. Eric, do you have anything you'd like to close with?
I just feel like the way the whole project is coming together is it feels right. And all the conversations that Tyne and I have had, and we've done some interviews together with folks, it feels like now is the right time for the project.
Right.
It feels like the climate is the right time to, lift up what Octavia, who she was, what she wrote about, and, putting that on a platform where people can put together all the pieces. I mentioned in this country we have a problem of not listening, right, and not paying attention. And
What? No, I'm
exactly.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Octavia Butler was a 6'1" Black woman in the 70s, right? She
and they think she might have been gay.
might have been gay.
Of course, I'm going to interject that part.
Sure, but talk about a woman who could write about things that she learned about that took place in the 2020s, which is where we are. And, she won awards, right? MacArthur Genius Grant, Hugo Awards,
Wow.
all these things. And even with all that, we don't listen to women. We sure don't listen to Black women. And when they put it in writing and win awards, right? And now we're living it, what does it take? So this project is really an opportunity to put all these elements together and say, look at this community, right?
And champion this woman and her foresight.
Yeah. And these people who have firsthand experience. Some of the interviewees' mother, one of the interviewees, his mother was a personal friend of Octavia Butler. And,
oh my gosh.
And, insisted he read her books. And he not only lost his home, his mother next door lost her home, and his sister died in the fire. So, I think it's very important to contextualize. This is not just a story that's out there, right?
Yeah.
These are people who are,
Yeah.
our neighbors and our family and friends.
And a lot of people that also other people might know. I know we were recently talking about peaches and cream. Peaches and herb.
Peaches
Sorry,
and herb,
peaches
yeah.
and herb.
Right.
And that Peaches had lost everything. So many people know their amazing music, but it affected a lot of people. And one of the people involved in our fundraiser is John and Caitlin Stamos, have ties to that area. And they have an organization, a foundation called Civic Soul that is literally helping people with expenses and all that were affected by losing their homes and jobs and businesses. And we're glad to be teaming up with them because a percentage of what we're raising will go to Civic Soul. And then the film itself is going to be a catalyst to raising money for those people and their needs. So I think that's important to mention as well. Really important project. Putting a fun gathering to raise funds for a very important cause that'll be important for many generations to come. This is a story that's of historic interest and also for the future. How do we handle what's happened here when it happens in your town?
May I put a little something in? We talk a lot these days about loneliness and separation. And since COVID, everybody's gone into their own little corners. And the idea of what's missing is a sense of community. We're talking about a community. And we're talking about widening out that community to be inclusive so that people know about it. So searching for a community is part of my headline in these days, so that you're not just by yourself in your room stewing about what can I do? What can I do? Develop that muscle that's called community.
Yes, community is important to our thriving and living long, right?
Yes.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
More than what we eat, thank goodness. So what is your website? We want to share that with everybody.
Sure. So I'm super easy to find. My website is ericdyson.net. And I'm on Instagram, The Real Eric Dyson.
Okay. And Eric, we spell
ERICDYSON.
So ericdyson.net.
Correct.
So I hope you got that written down. Of course, we are at sheangelinvestors.com and showherthemoney.movie.com, which is another movie that I did about the underfunding of women, as most people know. So I just believe that film is meant to raise awareness about things we need to know about, and not enough people realize the history of the community of Altadena, and not enough realize the devastation that's happening in just evaporating that community. And what are we going to do moving forward?
And in the
Treat it like
possibility,
your community.
Yeah.
And you can be a part of solving this situation. So please check out Eric's website. Please look for him and I on LinkedIn. And Tyne, thank you so much for being a part of this. It's so important to have people of your notoriety involved with projects like this.
The olden days, we used to call us the Visibles.
There you go. So glad you and Sharon are part of this project.
Yes.
We hope you reach out to us also to find out how you could be a producer or attend the Cagney and Lacey Reunion, which will be one of a kind after all these decades, to put them together on stage, have Susan Anton asking them questions about that incredible series they did. And they have, again, some very fun stories about that. You're not going to want to miss this. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we're only having 50 people. So good thing. You might want to reach out to us today about that if you're interested. And thank you so much for tuning in. Any last words?
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen. Make it a great week and become part of our Parable of the Ashes program, the film project that is a game changer for moving forward for this community. Thank you.